March marked the 10th month in a row that we broke a temperature record on the planet. This past March was the hottest March in history. The idea is that, hey, look, some of this, what's going on right now, is from El Nino. So we know that. But the question is, but when El Nino subsides, are we going to see some kind of a rebalance or what? And we don't know. These are students, okay? And what they're talking about here is not truth, but they're beliefs. So you don't have to go all hog on the chat and stuff about like, oh my God, this person's so whatever. They're talking their beliefs and their thoughts about these things, okay? No one's saying they're scientists here. But we're talking about, we get the opportunity to hear what it is that they think and they believe.
It is a trend, while we keep increasing our factories and increasing our production, increasing our population as well, something that's going to happen naturally. But I do believe we have the power to kind of revert some of that damage that we've been causing.
Tornado season is becoming earlier and earlier every year. And
I think our temperature went up to 39, but with a feel of 45.
Yeah.
And that was like that for almost a week.
And when I say, what do you know to be true? You could say, I really don't know anything to be true about climate change. So
it's going to take a global effort if we want to fix this.
So the first thing is, what do you know about climate change?
Climate change, it is a real thing. I know some conservatives go out there and say oh, this is not real. I do believe it's real. It's been affecting us ever since, I guess, the Industrial Revolution 300 years ago. It is a trend, while we keep increasing our factories and increasing our production, increasing our population as well, something that's going to happen naturally. But I do believe we have the power to kind of revert some of that damage that we've been causing.
Okay, so you're thinking, okay, this is a real thing.
Climate change includes a lot of parts.
A lot of parts?
Yeah, like temperature increase and carbon dioxide emissions and extreme weather.
Dude, spoken like a sociologist. It has a lot of parts. Awesome. Okay.
climate change is a really real and really scary thing. So I follow the weather trends of it more than I do anything else, because that's my background.
You were right, because
I
you
was
were
in
meteorology.
the atmospheric sciences part.
So you think it's really real?
It is 100% real. If you look at the weather trends, for example, tornado season is becoming earlier and earlier every year. And it used to be, I want to say April to June. We're getting tornado outbreaks with severe tornadoes as early as February and March now, especially in the deep south where it's warmer. And I'm sure this year it's because El Nino, but even in non-El Nino years, we're getting more and more destructive weather. It's genuinely terrifying. It's costing people their lives.
All right, hang on. We'll come back. Somebody else.
So I haven't really heard too much about climate change lately. I remember a couple years ago hearing about the icebergs and stuff, about how they were melting a lot quicker. But what I do know is that I would say it's a serious issue, although it's going to be really hard to deal with now. I think we're just a little bit too far along to where we can definitely slow it down, but I feel it's basically inevitable.
Is there something that you believe to be absolutely true about climate change? And if so, what is that?
In terms of global temperature rising, it definitely has throughout the years. And it's just in Malaysia, we had one of the hottest days ever. I think our temperature went up to 39, but with a feel of 45.
Yeah.
And that was that for almost a week. And it was so bad that even my dogs couldn't be outdoors. It was so in terms of that, I'd say that's a pretty solid indicator. And then you'd see news articles of the icebergs are melting and all of that. So that would be
so for thing. you know that part to be true. There are these, it's kind of what Sadie had said about, there are these things, we're seeing all these weather events that are unprecedented, and in your country you're seeing them.
Yeah.
Okay. Ludi, how about you? What do you know to be true
That's kind of a tough question. Can I just give you my opinion on climate change, or like what I think about it when it's brought up?
And when I say, what do you know to be true, you could say, I really don't know anything to be true about climate change. So
we're in such a progressive world that no matter how much you care about climate change, it's never going to be balanced. So like the world's going to keep progressing, we're going to keep building factories, and we're going to keep building new homes.
One thing that is true for you, it sounds like, is we're not going to be able to stop this thing. All the things that we're doing, all the things that people are saying are causing climate change.
Yeah, I think all of us as individuals can do so much on our end. Mm-hmm. Just because 5 people decide to recycle, it doesn't mean that anything is going to change.
Okay. All right. So one thing you believe is true is that you're not very optimistic because you're thinking like Jesse down there, like a sociologist, and being like, if everything that the scientists are saying is true, it is going to radically transform life on the planet. Radically transform life on the planet for all beings. Now, that doesn't mean that that's bad. Some beings, some species are going to thrive. Other species are not. But it is going to radically transform life on the planet. At your ages, right, you can make the argument. It's like, well, there's nothing we can do, right? You're like, well, I can recycle, or I can do this, or I can do that. But in the end, it's so big. When I sit for a hot minute and I think about, we're just talking like climate change, right? But when I think about what we're really talking about, and, you know, in my travels and my experience of watching this around the world, like Rachna, what you said about the hottest days, every nation, every area of the world has the same thing. In the past, it was the past 10 years, and then it's like, we thought, okay, we hit it, and then it's the past 5 years, and then it's the past year. And it's like, holy, we're not fear-mongering here, but it really is worth thinking about. Like, man, okay, so you're saying, yeah, one of my beliefs is that I'm not really sure we can get our hands around this thing.
And what I think is true is that it's going to take a global effort to fix like what has already happened, like in terms of climate change. Like I saw like this, just a whole bunch of memes on Instagram around about like how Taylor Swift like flew to the Super Bowl, and it was like 15-20 minute like flight. If someone recycled for a year straight, that just gets completely invalidated by that one flight that Taylor Swift made. It's going to take a global effort if we want to fix this. Like if we want to at least like slow down the progress.